Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we need to talk about Manchester United's 1-0 win over Luton, which statistically makes them the most informed team in the Premier League over the past 5 games. So of course we're going to talk about what we saw in the game. You're going to have to excuse my voice in this video, I do apologise for that. But let's get into it.
So before we continue into the video, a quick shout out to today's video sponsor, JerseyFifa.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that be the new latest releases or the old classic ones like this, Jersey FIFA has something for everyone, and now you can check it out yourself using the link in the description down below. And also make sure to use code JerseyFifa for 10% off when you order.
So we're going to go straight to the tactics board and kind of go from here. Now, first of all, we've got a few changes for Manchester United. We've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka out with illness, meaning that Dalot was moved to right back and Reguilon came in at left back. And then, of course, with Johnny Evans out, Rafael Varane out of favour, Lindelof and Maguire was the centre-back pairing. The rest of the team was the same team which we saw in midweek. However, the approach was actually slightly different. Now, in terms of, United playing the ball out from the back, something that we talk about quite a lot, it was really easy in this game. Luton didn't really have any interest in applying pressure to the ball. Some teams will go high like so and kind of put you under pressure. United aren't great in these areas, but Luton had no interest in doing that really. They dropped off into more of a 5-2-3 shape, I would call it. At times even a 5-4-1 if you like, making it really easy for United to play the ball out from the back. Onana, in terms of in possession on the ball, had a nice quiet afternoon really. Seemed pretty chill. So United are able to get the ball to the centre-backs. Now the thing here, of course, is Luton are dropping pretty deep. Not all the way deep, but fairly deep and compact. And it's difficult to break them down, and that ultimately was the task in this game. With Luton not applying pressure to the ball, as a Manchester United team, but as a manager and also the players, it's all about, can you break them down, and how well can you do that? Can you create big chances? Can you score good goals? Now, I guess only winning 1-0 would suggest that the answer to some of those questions is probably no, they didn't create that many chances. But I still think the performance was okay, particularly in the first half. Now, in the first half, what we saw was United often building possession in a 2-3 shape, with Christian Eriksen dropping a little bit deeper into a pivot. Reguilon would sort of push forward, this was an off-balance shape, and Dalot was a little bit deeper. So it's kind of a 2-3 when Dalot stepped forward, but also kind of a 3-2. Again, it was rotating. Now, the important thing whilst United were in this shape was that there were connection points in the team and players for people to pass to, particularly also because Bruno Fernandes was often dropping a little bit deeper, which meant that when someone like Victor Lindelof had the ball, he did have a passing option. Whether that be Christian Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes, Reguilon, Garnacho, there was plenty of options on the ball. The same down the other side for Harry Maguire. If Maguire has the ball, he can pass the ball to quite safe to Dalot. He can move inside to Eriksen, go across to Lindelof. There's options and ways in which United can play. And this actually worked really well, particularly when United overloaded one side of the pitch. So let's say United are going to come build possession down this side, so Reguilon will tuck a little bit deeper. So Maguire's got the ball. United are going to bring players over. Garnacho is initially going to hold the width. McTominay and Bruno Fernandes are going to push a little bit further forward, kind of go 5 for 5 with the Luton back line. However, as this ball gets played over, and I thought Maguire done a really good job of this again in this game, one of the best players on the pitch, we'll come on to that shortly. But as this ball is travelling over, Reguilon is now going to make an underlapping run. And because he's started deeper and then ran forward, as he runs, it drags this player. If Reguilon starts high as the ball is played, it's quite easy for the opposition to track. Mengi just drops off a yard. But because he's doing it later, Mengi has thought he's looked round, seen no one round him, so I can go aggressive on Bruno Fernandes. But as this ball comes over and Reguilon makes the run, now United create this front six, Garnacho, Reguilon, Fernandes, Højlund, McTominay and Rashford, up against a Luton back five. And this led to some pretty decent chance creation, I felt. Certainly opportunity creation, so perhaps United didn't actually get the shot off, but I thought that United were combining quite well. And actually that Reguilon and Garnacho had quite a good understanding. We also saw something similar down the other side. When United were building down this side, players would shift over like this. Again, United are kind of initially attacking with a front five, but then the ball's going to go to Lindelof. He's going to switch to play, and as he does that, Diogo Dalot is going to make an underlapping run, which once again is going to drag these Luton players into different positions and once again create this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the front line up against just 5 defensive players for Luton. So again, this is pretty good for United, and this is a good way of attacking because it means you can stretch your position, you pull them from side to side, and you hurt them. However, I don't think it should be, your main or perhaps your only weapon. I don't think it should be the only way in which you progress the ball forward. I think it's also important to move the ball through the centre. However, we didn't really see that in this game. Now, during spells of the first half, Christian Eriksen attempted to do it. He looked to move the ball forward through the centre, as we would expect. He's a very good technical player. However, as the game went on, of course, Eriksen goes off injured, McTominay drops a lot deeper, and Mason Mount moves into this higher position. Now, we know that when Scott McTominay is dropping into these positions, he isn't someone who constantly demands the ball. He's not someone who wants to constantly get on the turn and play forward. It's not really his game. Now, something else that I felt we saw as the game went on was United perhaps started to feel the pressure almost of needing to score a goal. Of course, you're playing Luton, so United feel that at home at Old Trafford, that's a game that they should be winning. And the fact that they weren't, the crowd were getting a little bit unsettled. And United suddenly started pushing players a little bit further forward, but too early for my liking. So we've got Reguilón was starting to push further forward into this position. Dalot would do the same on this side. And now it's much easier to defend. When players are stationary in positions, it's easy as a defensive unit to kind of point and pull different players into different areas to make sure that you're marking and picking up the right gaps. Whereas in the first half, where players were, or certainly the first 35 minutes, where players were starting deeper and then arriving, that was causing problems. But now United had a lot of players really high up the pitch really early. And it's an old habit. It's a habit which we've seen a lot from this United team this season. I thought we kind of overcome it a little bit against Copenhagen. This was a step back in terms of performance. Because now, because all of these players are pushed so far forward, there's no central progression. Mason Mount, I thought when he came on, done a really good job out of possession and was also decent on the ball. But because United now didn't have a 6 who was regularly getting deep, and there weren't a lot of deep passing options for these players on the ball, it made it really difficult for the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount to have a massive impact in the centre of the pitch where you'd want them. And it left United with their weapon being get the ball, switch it. Now, of course, at times that's going to work. You've got quality on both wings. Garnacho and Marcus Rashford, I thought they both had pretty good games. I also liked that for the goal, in the build-up, we saw them swap sides. Marcus Rashford wins the corner, and we see a goal. I think we should do that more. But, whilst I would always encourage making the pitch nice and big, spreading the play, moving the opposition side to side, it can't be your only weapon. Because, of course, during a 90-minute match, if you're constantly switching the ball long, there's going to be situations where you don't quite get the pass right. And because United have got quite an open system here, all it takes really is for Luton to win one header, and they could get themselves into a promising situation. So United had a lot of possession in this game, but particularly in the second half, as the team pushed further forward, I just felt that they lost control, really. And it's actually really reflected in the stats from this game. Apologies for the lag there. But we can see it in the stats here. Lindelof and Maguire were by far the most progressive players for United, both in terms of pass and carry. Now, of course, those two deserve credit for it. Maguire's been doing it a lot recently. It's just what he does, really. But I was pleased to see Lindelof doing it to a much better standard than what he has done in recent weeks. But in terms of if we're looking at the rest of the team, we can see that numbers are all really, really low for the rest of the players. Now, in a sense, that's okay because United were dominant in this game. They had a lot of the ball. But the reason you can't progress the ball as much, if you're one of these guys at the bottom there, is because you're already starting higher up the pitch. So let's say I receive the ball here with Marcus Rashford. It's quite difficult to progress from there because I'm so high. So I would have rather have seen United on a more regular basis, just dropping Dalot a little bit deeper and having connection points in the side. I think if United had done that, they would have had more control, particularly in the second half. And if they had done that, and then, perhaps later in the move commit to more of a front six, we could have seen more chances created for Rasmus Højlund. Now, United didn't do that. Ten Hag didn't do that. A little bit concerning, because it's not really a sustainable way of playing. However, we've spoken a lot recently about a lot of injuries to the side, a lot of players unavailable. We saw more injuries in this game, affecting the game plan ultimately. Again, Scott McTominay playing as a 6 in a game where you've got a lot of the ball isn't ideal, although I actually think Scott McTominay done pretty well. Ultimately, it's hard to criticise the side too much because they probably should have won by about 3 goals. Marcus Rashford had a big 1-versus-1 opportunity, Garnacho had the same, Rasmus Højlund had a big chance, and of course the Lindelof goal. United definitely deserved to win this game. So I'm not going to be heavily critical because we haven't been able to say that too much this season. So, job done, 3 points, happy days. But I do just think, moving forward, United do still need more control. We'll see what happens after the international break. But for this game, that's pretty much all I want to say, because I'm worried about just repeating what I've said a lot in recent weeks and just in general so far this season. So for today's video, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Also because, as you can hear, my voice is going. This is being recorded at like 11:30 at night. So we're going to leave it there. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you've thought of this match in the comments down below. Do you think Ten Hag got the subs right, particularly with Christian Eriksen being forced off? Was Mason Mount the right man to come on? What did you think of Mason Mount's performance? What was the problem with United's performance in the second half? I thought for 25-30 minutes United controlled the game, but after around the 30th minute of this match, they lost control. Luton had a few half chances. So again, let me know what you think the problem is with that. What is the solution to creating more chances for Rasmus Højlund? All of that, let me know. And also, why don't United take their chances when they get them? Again, let me know in the comments down below. But apart from that, I'm going to wrap it up there. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.